The Marla and Dave radio experience begins in 3, 2, 1. Now, if you're ready, we will begin. Welcome to the Marla and Dave radio show. This is reality radio with a couple that keeps it real. Current events, pop culture, music, relationship, fitness, the hot topics of the day. Marla and Dave Thomas. This is the Marla and Dave radio show. Real radio. Turn up!
Welcome to the Marla and Dave show. It's 2018.
Hey, happy New Year. That's correct.
Dave,
we made it.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah. I don't know. I should take that back.
Can you not?
I don't know if I can do your favor.
Can you not be working up into the intro? Because I just feel like you're looking at sharks and things that are not even related to anything that we're trying to do here. I feel that about you.
Well,
I think you wait to get to the Marla and Dave show. You plop your butt down in the madhouse, and the minute you get into the madhouse, you start doing things.
I plop my butt down in the madhouse.
You plop your butt into the madhouse, and the minute that you get here, you start doing things that you never would be doing if you were sitting. We were at home all day. Well, we did have meetings and things, but I saw you with at least enough time to do the ancillary BS that you're doing right now.
It seems like it, right? It seems like it. But no, you know what? I get here and I start thinking about the show, and next thing you know, there's more to think about.
Yeah, well, you're not really thinking about shiznit. You're actually doing other stuff, and I want you to be ready to say, hey, and welcome our guest.
Aren't you the judger and the judge and jury in 2018? Okay.
Welcome today to the show. The question is simple. Marriage, to be or not to be. So marriage used to be a traditional standard, but not anymore. At least it seems. Dave has his statement.
And my statement is, if marriage dies, society dies.
And Marla.
Point blank.
So therefore, we can safely say that Dave is on the to be side. Marla's comment, which is mine, my comment is simple. Marriage is for the purpose now has turned into the legal continuity of family, not the contractual obligation to make someone stay in a relationship, which is what I think that it's being used for.
And I'm confused by that statement, but we'll get into that.
So today we're going to discuss the pros and cons of marriage. Is marriage a dying institution? What do you think? If so, why? If it isn't, we want to hear your thoughts. Call us at 323-524-2599 during the course of today's show. Share the conversation with us. We always want to know what you think. Let's talk about our year in review. We did a year in review, didn't we? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're back into 2000.
We're not reviewing 2017, but yeah, you confused me with that. Year in review.
You know what? I will say this. Usually I'm not self-conscious at all about what I look like or what I'm doing when I come in. But for today, because I'm wearing my Dig the Kicks gear, which we wear it all the time. We really do love it.
Yeah, but I'm telling you
this is a specialty oatmeal suit. And I looked up when I went to the bathroom, and I was like, oh, wow, I have makeup all over my hoodie.
Because you were trying to be funny and wear the hoodie. I'm put on my hat.
What's up? What's up with you?
You forgot Donald Trump was the president. You could have got shot.
Okay. Okay. And also, in the world of fitness, by the way, which there's a new fitness invitation that's out. If you live in the Los Angeles area, check my Instagram tomorrow. I've got information for anybody who wants to join my class. Let me help you in 2018. Get yourself together on a level that I want to help you make a lasting change.
The discussion's about to be rough in here today, though. That's really why we're wearing.
So that's the point I was really going to get into.
Down. It's about to get rough.
We're dressed in combat because David and I are going to be in a verbal joust today with each other about this topic.
I got on my fatigue. Marla's got her fatigue hat on, so it's about to be a war up in this piece.
But we took some time off, as most people did during the holidays. I was showered, which I mentioned on my live feeds, with some very thoughtful gifts this year from my daughters. Unfortunately, we missed our son this holiday season because he's still incarcerated and unable to join us. We're continuing to pray for his healing. But Lexi went out of her way this year, Tony, and she made me this ring and went and picked all the stones and it says she had it custom made. She customized a ring that, just for those of you who can't see it, It's simplistically simple in the way that I live my life and who I am, and it just says love. So no matter how much I may be screaming at Dave today, I want you to think about this ring throughout the course of this show.
I don't see it.
It just means love. Dave, you made contact with
had a couple of visits
with our son
with
for the
DJ,
first time since
yeah.
October, as he was bounced around within the jail system. We've been to several court dates, and when he was finally transferred into a different department, you were permitted to go in and see him. I have not made the personal visit, and I'm contemplating whether that should, in understanding the state of mind that he still seems to be in, I'll have to make that decision as we go on. But give us a quick update.
Well, he's in the mental health portion of the penal system right now
In the LA County Jail.
And he's been mandated to be medicated. But the good and bad thing is I don't think he's been medicated yet because they really want him to accept his medication. Because part of their mandate with the program, which is very new that he's in, the MIST program, is the mandate is to also return him and make him self-reliant on his own and a contributing member to society, which requires him to be willing to take his own medication in an ongoing situation. So that's their first approach.
And we are going to continue, and as we will direct funds as appropriated, but we still have the Save Our Son campaign, so you can find that link on all of my sites, and it's simply paypal.me, Save Our Son. And so all of those fees at this point are being retained so we can actually deal with his legal consequences. So there's a lot of legality that has to go forward with a couple of different attorneys, and it's
once he's returned to
it's costly,
his ability to stand trial. So
Correct.
He hasn't had to actually stand trial.
Correct. Welcome to everybody from Facebook. Welcome on the Periscope Radio TV, UBN Radio TV on Periscope, right here on our Facebook, where I spend an enormous amount of time.
I have 3 words: fire and fury. Say what?
Yeah, the book.
I don't know. See, the whole Trump situation is so hilarious to me in this sense. I hope he's getting a piece of the book because he is the one advertising the most for the book.
He needs to have his ass
very
whooped.
behavior is selling the book. The mere fact that they tried to have a cease and desist on Michael Wolff about publishing the book, next thing you know, the books flew off the shelf.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, I do want him to just tweet me one time. Just want him to tweet me one time.
All you have to do is say
Trump,
something crazy about
you're
it.
a piece of shit. Text us. Just send us a message. There you go. Hashtag Trump's an ass. There you go.
Man.
Anyway, I really meant that.
No, she didn't. Okay.
I did.
We're loving our family to family.
Right.
Meetings that we go to, the classes that we attend. We're actually learning a lot. Marla and I actually thought we knew a lot about the mental health scenario based on our experience, but we're learning a lot more through Family to Family, which is a program put on by NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness. And so that's a very cool situation. We go every week and we learn a lot.
Right. By the way, I just added a hashtag.
What?
Trump sucks. So, the NAMI family. Dave.
What?
Take 6 is back in the studio because we're expecting a new album out of you. Is there?
That's right.
Is there something that you want to share about the? Can we talk about a title? Can we talk about the direction?
Yeah, we do know the title. The title is called. The project is called Iconic.
That is so freaking appropriate.
Iconic.
Am I on the cover?
No, that is, we tried, but they said there was some kind of copyright infringement issues and we couldn't get you on there. I'm sorry.
I can't sing. I'm not able to dance.
We're doing covers of
talk on.
really classic, iconic songs from the past. One of my favorites that we actually do on the show now is Gotta Get You Into My Life, the famous Beatles song remade by Earth, Wind & Fire, and now Take 6. Boom!
So keep your eye out for that. We got a lot to talk about today. Again, marriage, to be or not to be, all of the pros and cons right here in the Madhouse. Don't move. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network. Current events, pop culture, the hot topics of the day. It's time for MaD News on the Marla and Dave radio show. Ladies and gentlemen, Marla and Dave.
right, this is a very...
Ladies and gentlemen, Marla and Dave.
Super
Thanks, Al.
funny. It's not funny. It's kind of... There's humor in it, but it's really sad. So a Texas couple had to plead guilty to charges related to forcing a Nigerian woman to work as their nanny for 2 years without ever paying her. The crazy thing is she came over from Nigeria and she agreed to $100 a month to begin with, which is insane to me. But the couple has now been ordered to pay her back pay for the 2 years for $121,000. I guess how do I pronounce this guy's name?
Is she an illegal
Chudi
immigrant?
Subundu and his wife Sandra, and actually brought this lady over from Nigeria. They were taking care of their 5 kids. She had to make meals and clean the house, do everything, and she could only eat the scraps of leftovers after the meal was done. And they wouldn't let her take hot showers. I couldn't really figure that one out.
She had to shower cold.
Yeah, but do they come in the shower with it and make sure it's cold? I mean, that
They
makes
just turn
absolutely
they turn
no
the heat
sense.
off. They just go to the to the thing and it's her turn.
Man.
Right. As Tony said, just keep repeatedly flushing the toilet.
Oh, man.
She's in the shower.
So you got such a crazy environment with the whole get rid of the illegal immigrants. You got these people coming over here, and now this lady, I'm not sure, but she seemed like she had a passport, so I'm not sure that she was illegal. But they took her passport so she couldn't get away. And then they threatened her with violence and everything just in case if she were to say something. But it's insane. Anyway, good for her. She was ordered to receive $121,000 from her captors. Not employers, captors.
Can I just say this? I would be really afraid to do that to anyone who was taking care of my children. Because if I can't get you, if I blow a gasket, then my kids are in jeopardy. It's like mistreating somebody that's taking care of the most precious cargo ever.
Oprah
Stupid.
for president.
Well, let me just say this. I already filled out my ballot. I've been calling around today to figure out where to take it.
Where can I file this
I need
ballot?
to know where this gets actually counted because I'm all in. Listen.
So last night at the Golden Globes, Oprah received the Cecil B. DeMille
Award.
It's the first black woman to ever receive that award. So it's she's always the first of everything. Anytime she does something. She might have been the first to eat a donut. Who knows? I'm just saying. Anything she does, it's the first time it ever happened.
Why would you choose Oprah first for eating donuts, huh?
I know that was uncool. I'm sorry. I take it back.
David.
I take it back. It's just a joke.
Why couldn't she eat the first slice of avocado?
She probably did.
Okay.
She might have invented the avocado.
But
you
anyway,
get an avocado and
you get an avocado and you get an avocado. Anyway, the speech was incredibly inspiring, which, you know, a lot of that it can actually bleed over into our topic today. But more importantly, I actually thought that Natalie Portman was so smart in her quip back. Even though I don't think Ron Howard meant any ill intent, his comment was almost as if
it was ill-timed.
That was great. But kind of let's get back to what we're doing here at the Golden Globes.
As soon
and
as
Natalie Portman says, "Yes,
all the men.
Let's announce
the all male
nominees for Best Director."
The crazy thing about it is Lady Bird was the best film,
right? And the director is a female,
and she didn't even get nominated.
A nod.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Damn those vaginas! They're just holding us back. What is going on?
I'll take it. Give it to me.
Tony, you don't know till you have one. They're powerful. Just don't do that.
They're addictive, Tony. They're addictive. It's like a Pringle. Anyway.
So.
That's funny. I'm a
Did you just
comedian.
call my vagina a Pringle?
You see,
Dave, I thought you were going to get off the couch and out of the doghouse in 2018.
I'm a comedian. I can't help it. Anyway, this is another funny story. So over the holidays, the Florida authorities were called. 911 was called New Year's Eve, and a man wanted to report himself
as a drunk driver. Now I saw a picture. Hold on. I wish we could pull a picture up of this guy.
It's going to be up there. The thing is,
this guy,
he's got all kind of meth marks all over his face.
I shouldn't say that. You shouldn't really diagnose people. We're learning that. But according to what I know of
he called
the
911
research
on himself.
I've done, He looks like he has pock face, which comes along with methamphetamine usage. It's the acid that smoke.
He called, and the lady at the dispatcher says, "What are you doing? What have you been doing all night?" "I don't know, driving around, trying to get pulled over. Actually, I'm on the wrong side of the road." In the meantime, you can hear he's talking to 911. You can hear the authorities pulling up, the police pulling up to arrest him. Sad. But at least, I guess that could be responsible. If you think about it in one way. That's what I say. Anyway, that's been Mad News. And we're going to get back to the show.
This ain't your mama's radio show. Can you handle the truth? Then get ready for a real radio experience. Ladies and gentlemen, Marla and Dave.
I'd like to start off this show. We mentioned before the question that we're dealing with today, the topic we're tackling. My whole goal in January is to reset everything. I want to reset relationships. I want to reset our self-esteem. I want to reset our focus, our goals. I want to reset our concept today of marriage. And usually when the show starts out, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time this year, welcome to the Madhouse. We are Marla and Dave, and we have a variety entertainment show. David has stolen 10 Grammys that belong to me by being a member of Take 6.
Wow.
Right. Exactly.
Just wow.
It just is what it is. I can't stop it. But in the meantime, we like to start our show always with usually a mood song. But because we were coming in 2018, I think it would be very appropriate. The mood song is something that we're either feeling inspired about or that sets the tone for the show. Tony, would you please? It's the Hoes.
Wow.
That's the real name of the song. These Hoes ain't loyal. Okay. That's just, a little clap back on Dave. Dave, what inspired you?
What are you clapping back for? Anyway, Tony, hit me with my song. Yeah.
You know what? You know what that lyric said right there? And that's a good proof. I wish we could go back in that last line.
Tony, hit it again.
Listen to this. Hold on. Here it is. We fade out. The altar, we might as well do this. We might as well. As if we ran out of other options. I've done every position with you. We're at, oh my God, I'm at the back of the book, 102 positions. You know what? Slam it. All right, let's just get married. We might as well do it. So when you really start tearing open the marriage issue, what I'm really coming to find out is, especially now, people are less about the sanctity of marriage and more about the safety of marriage. Marriage is a way to belong. It's a club.
Did you say safety?
I said safety. People want to feel
People are
like
about the wait. Make your statement again, because I want to make
people
sure.
are less about the sanctity of the union,
perfect. And more about the safety. Okay,
and more about the safety of the union. Meaning, I'm going to protect keeping you, and I'm going to be in this with you by marrying you. Or how many times I've heard somebody say, "Oh, especially men who get to be a certain age, I go ahead and tie that down. She's a good girl. I owed her that, or I'm doing it out of loyalty. That's what she wanted to do." I hear that a lot, because my thing is, if you're not ready to actually commit to the terms of the union, which is like life, it has its ups and downs. What the hell are you doing?
I'm going to start off by saying in the opening,
it's going to be very heated for me.
In the opening of the show, I said if marriage dies, society dies, and before the end of the day, I'm going to give you some statistics that seem to pretty much imply exactly what I just said. Not Dave's statistics, the Pew Research Center. I'm going to just throw that out there. But in the meantime, my real issue is women are far more in control of this scenario than they give themselves credit for. If a woman came up to me and said, well, I take that back. If I was a woman and a guy came up to me
you even
and
say
said,
that?
"Girl,
you got a sack, son.
You deserve to finally get married." I should be like, who are you talking
But
to?
it's not just
you don't
that.
deserve me.
It's,
Bye.
It's not. That's not. Okay, first of all, clearly you've been married way too long. That's not how that works.
I might go like this. Bye.
These are people who.
Is that how y'all do
These are people who have been in relationships for a long time, but you have not made the ultimate commitment of marriage. This is not just, oh, hey, girl, I met you. You know what? You deserve to be married. You are minimizing the situation. That's whack.
That is my point. What I really don't like is playing marriage on TV. Why would I play married?
Bro.
Marriage has its ups and
Explain
downs.
that.
In other words, why would I do everything but be married and allow myself to be subject to that type of treatment? In other words, if a woman has value in herself, if this is not for real, bye.
Okay. This is what I do with my class, and I'm going to do it today. What is your...
I just told you.
No, I'm going to ask you a specific question. The question is yes. Yes, the question is yes or no, essentially, or to be or not to be married, right?
Yes.
So, okay.
My answer is yes.
All right. So for two, I'm going to give you one. We each will take a minute. And in that minute's time, I'll start my stopwatch. I just want you to be able to present your clear, because I've been interrupting you. I don't say a word. Ready? Go.
Tony, I need your watch too, and please keep her from speaking. Anyway, so my clear and concise point is this. Marriage is a traditional concept. When you actually try to get rid of tradition, there are attributes to any tradition that are very valuable to society. That's why they are a tradition. This is what works. This is what has got us this far. When you get rid of the tradition, you lose some of those intrinsic valuable attributes that were part of the tradition that you didn't realize. And they're very necessary to the totality of our society. In other words, marriage is the bedrock of the family unit. The family unit is the bedrock of society in general. And when you lose that, you lose society. Now, we're going to get into an explanation of that, but that's the general, concise statement. Go. Didn't even need a whole minute.
You sure didn't. You ended it at 50 seconds. My to be or not to be, I say not to be. And the reason that I say not to be is very simple. Marriage in its intent is a perfect institution that is entered into 100% of the time by imperfect people. So to me, it's because of its legality, it's become more about possession than it is about purpose. And that's what we imperfect people have turned it into. So what I'm saying is, let's revive the commitment to relationship, and then we'll begin to restore the actual meaning to marriage, because there's no more commitment in a relationship. And so my clock is running, and I'm done much sooner than you. Peace out. Drops the mic.
All right, so let me give you one. I'm gonna each segment. I'm gonna drop a little factoid statistic. This is from the Pew Research Center.
Pew, pew, pew.
The share of married Americans is falling. So the overall people being married is falling, but married people still pay most of the nation's income taxes because marriage is part of a stable environment. And those stable people generally make more money. They actually provide financially for the entire society. Married people pay, I think at this point, 69% of 80% of all federal income tax. They paid 69% of all adults were married in 1970, and they paid 80% of all federal income tax. As of 2014, the share of married adults has dropped to half of the adult population. Only 50% of eligible adults are married, and they still pay 74% of all the taxes. So that just stays constant. Do you see my point?
What I see is everything that you're talking about is revenue driven, and everything you're talking about is economically based. You're not talking about anything.
No, that's just the side fact.
That's a really good business. That is a really good business fact that you just threw to the table.
Okay, so what was my statement?
Your statement
do you remember what my statement was?
That it's the
get
bedrock.
rid of marriage and you get rid of
it's
society.
the foundational principle of society.
We married people
strong society
are paying most of the income taxes.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Without the income tax, you have nothing.
Right.
Okay, keep going.
And without Donald Trump, we have better tax laws anyway. So it's just a lot of things we can say about that. I'm just saying. So we want to get into taxes and economic growth and all of that. That's great, but that's not about that. But that's a contributing factor that should not be a consideration in an actual union of whether we should or shouldn't be married.
Here I'm making a plea. Please call in to the show, 323-524-2599. Tony, please put that up on the screen. Because the bottom line is, what I'm really saying is, a married person is generally more of a stable person. And that person, Marla, would you say?
Wow.
Marriage usually indicates stability. Yes or no? What is the main? It used to be the main reason that people didn't get married, because I'm not ready. What does ready mean? My finances aren't stable enough to get married.
Are we calling single people unstable? I'm just questioning.
I'm calling single people because of their habits are more selfish. They're about themselves. They don't have anybody else to think about. Just let this hang out there for a little bit. Deal with it. I'm sorry.
I understand, but sometimes I think that those assertions don't. I don't know, man. I think that it could be. I think that it can be a valuable thing, but I think that we're putting too much on the wrong stuff, which is why it's failing. That's what I really feel like. I feel like it's a failing institution because of how it's approached and what we're doing and how it's set up based on where we are now and who we are, no matter how I look at it, even through the eyes, if I put on the glasses of a Judeo-Christian principle, I still see it the same. Because what I really see is, before, like I said in the car, marriage didn't have the legal implication. It was, if you like me, by the time you bang me, I belong to you. So that's the way it is. You poke me,
crude.
You poke me, you possess
You're
me.
Crass.
That's the way it goes. The poke equals the possession. But now it comes
equals the
possession. You poke me, you possess me. That's the way it is. Look, I got my girl on the stick. Woo! I'm dead serious though.
It is pretty exciting.
So what I'm saying to you is, and that's what we even got into, the focus has changed. Nortrice Banner's in the chat room, and she says, "I'll let you know when I have a show. I'd love for you to come." Oh, Nortrice, please don't kill Dave. Psh, Dave's in jeopardy. Anyway, that's really what
Nortrice is actually saying is, I agree with Dave. Please don't actually poo-poo his point.
She didn't say that. She's very well spoken.
I speak, Nortrice. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm just saying to you that it's like everything else. We're pushing an agenda. And I feel like that we're pushing an agenda, but what are the reasons that we're pushing the agenda? So when I said in the car, everything is about the flash of marriage, and none of it is about the actual relationship. So most people, when you hear Beyonce, "Oh, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. I just want to sing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I'm saying to you is,
keep your day job, but go ahead.
If you like it, put a ring on it. Is not about the actual thing of the core of an actual marriage relationship. Nothing anymore is about a commitment. And the reason that this drew great attention from me, and Dave, you and I have talked about this before. We sat down one time and talked about how many of our friends and people who are close associates that we know who've had weddings that cost beyond $200,000 plus. And none of them stayed together. Not one. They had the most fantastic weddings. Everyone was focused on the ring. Everybody wants to know how much the ring costs. Show me the ring. Show me the ring. Recently, your girl, shmoney, what's her name? Cardi B, got, her, got on and everybody, it was a trending thing, and everybody wants to talk about the size of the diamond. No one cares about the actual continuity or the union or people who should or have even thought about how ready they are to make a commitment to walk through life, because it's a very transitory thing now because of the way that it's been handled up to now. Why are women way over here trying to do it all on our own? Because when men got a hold of us and possessed us and treated us with less respect than we deserved and didn't treat us as equals, we fought back so hard. We snatched our bras off. You're welcome. We burned them. And now the next thing you know, we started taking on all the hats and saying, I don't even need you. I got all of this, because we were compressed into something that diminished our value. And that's what it is even with marriage. People are in it for reasons that are totally different.
All right, so I saw that you read Nortrice's comment, but Maurice said when people honor their vows for marriage, they can be unstoppable. Now, I'm not quite sure what he meant by that. Maybe Maurice can actually enlighten us what he actually meant by calling in at 323-524-2599. But what I think is by trying to separate the family unit, which marriage is the basis of the family unit. Would you at least agree with that?
What?
That marriage is the basis of the family unit.
Marriage is the basis of the family unit, but yes.
Traditionally speaking.
I'm going to just say this
Traditionally speaking.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So when you break something into its pieces, is it stronger?
Depends on what it is. If it can take on a new life of its own, it could be. Sometimes it's like breaking a baby off. Our kids grow up and they ultimately get stronger and bigger than we are.
So your legs decide that, you know what, we're the ones who carry this body around all the time. We're out of here.
That can't happen.
Who wins?
That can't happen. That's
exactly correct. It should not be able to happen. I agree, but it does.
But Dave,
it does. When you break the body down, does it get better? I'm asking.
No.
Okay.
When you break a body down, it doesn't get better, but I don't know that we can look at this whole picture and refer to it in the same scope.
Well, if you like it, then you need to put a pin in it, because we're going to have to take a little break. This conversation is getting out of control. I think I got you right there, Marla, with the actual Marla-ism.
I think we need to actually take a tally board. Anyway, join our conversation today, 323. What do you think? Do you think that marriage is what it's all that it's cracked up to be? If the answer to that is yes, if you have a great marriage that you consider great even with its flaws, we want to hear from you too. 323-524-2599. Let's talk about it.
Hey guys, listen up. Learn something. 26 years of marriage from two unique perspectives equals 52 years of relationship experience.
Excuse me, that's 58 years? Oops,
It's time for Ask Marla and Dave. Answers to your questions about life, love, and relationship based on Marla and Dave's real-life experience. It's about to get real. Ask Marla and Dave.
I have a really quick question.
Is it the Ask Marla and Dave question?
Oh, no. We're not Ask Marla and Dave right now.
That's exactly where we are. Anyway, the Ask Marla and Dave portion of the show is where you have decided to visit us at www.marlandave.com, and you click the Ask Marla and Dave tab. Send us your question. We answer it right here on the air without you having to call in, without having to go through all the waiting sometimes when you call in. Anyway, Marla.
Today is simple. The Ask Marla and Dave question: what is your biggest regret of 2017? Signed, Bygones Be Bygones.
Well, what's your answer?
My answer is very clear. There were so many traumatic things that happened to me through the course of last year. I think my biggest regret is reacting. I think that I've reacted to things, kids, loved ones, in a way that is not necessarily true in character, which is something I'm going to work on going forward, to have not even more control, but to just not be irresponsibly responsive in any way, and to just truly be more guided within myself before I actually make decisions and say certain things. I don't have to lend myself to a situation that I know is not best for me to lend myself to, because at that point I'll be acting outside of love, and love is always my goal.
All right, well, that's a good one. I think my biggest regret of 2017, it's a toss-up. So the toss-up is between one too many pizzas, because I love pizza.
He's out of control.
And thinking that, I'll just take a break for a little while. Next thing you know,
He was pregnant. 8 months.
Marla was pregnant. Anyway, no, just joking. At least, anyway, the other one is also in that same vein, sort of thinking that you can never take a break. When you're an entrepreneur, when you work for yourself, whenever you take a break, you're actually robbing yourself of the future. So whenever you think that, man, I just deserve some rest. Well, it's better, I think, and something that I'm going to work on is working a little
Constantly.
bit all the time, even when I'm taking a break. Right. So I just can't afford the time.
It's like a work muscle. The more you exercise it, the bigger it grows. The more you eat pizza, the bigger your baby gets.
So I'm back to my old mantra, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Anyway, that's the Ask Marla and Dave. We'll get right back to the show.
Intelligent, fun, and super real. This is the Marla and Dave Radio Show.
All right, again, I remind everybody, 323-524-2599 is the phone number to call. We're talking about the pros and cons of marriage. I think a lot of people have marriage fantasies, but a lot of people want to get married, and then when they get in, whoa, nilly. The terms change, the feelings, diminish, and junk just goes south. For a lot of people, which is why the divorce rate is so high. I think it's at 69%. It's like way up there. And so people are now getting married with the idea of, we'll get married, and if it doesn't work, we'll just get a divorce. Why even go through all that red tape? Just, be you. And I think that's kind of where my issue is. I have to say this, and I'm going to keep it all the way real.
I'm going to have to jump in right after you finish, but go ahead.
I'm not opposed at all to marriage. I just think the majority of us as people, with where we are and how society is trended and what we're doing, we're entering it for all the wrong reasons. Now that's kind of where I'm going to turn the corner.
Now that I completely agree with.
I think we're entering it for all the wrong reasons, and think
the pressures that we put on it are ill-advised.
Marriage is not an SOS. It doesn't save your relationship. It doesn't save anything. It makes you. It makes you messed up. When I see an acronym, I just want to say what comes to my mind, and it was going to be
just stop.
Never mind.
Anyway, so I tell people
Tony,
all the time, if you're arguing and fighting like cats and dogs, as boyfriend and girlfriend, or girlfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend and boyfriend, anyway, as a couple before you get married, it's going to get worse. When you get married, it's going to be worse. One of the truest things that I've heard in a long time was by Jim Ed Norman, the president of Warner Brothers Records in Nashville, who signed Take 6 ages ago. Marla and I weren't married yet.
That means I was 19.
I was getting him some advice, and he says the highs you experience will be the highest highs. You will be the happiest that you could ever be. And the lows, and I was like, oh, sweet. He was like, hey, you think that's a good thing, right? He said, but the lows will be the lowest lows you can possibly imagine. Lord, it will be the worst thing that you could ever imagine.
Lord, it's the monkey.
Lord, it's the monkey.
That's an inside joke. Dave could tell you about that if he wants to one time. But anyway, yeah. So yeah.
And yes, it's true.
What?
Have you experienced that to be true?
Well, the monkey?
Yeah.
Everybody likes the monkey.
Remember, God was talking to Adam.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Okay.
That makes you the monkey.
I know. I get it. Or my monkey. Either way. It all has value there. So anyway, yeah, so yes, I totally agree with that. But what I'm saying is why we get to that point has changed. And I think that the leading reasons for marriage, to get married, which is why I say to be or not to be, are the same reasons why it's not working anymore. The bottom line is it's, more people are unhappily married than they're happily single. Facts.
Let's put a pin in that. Let's go to some facts. So back to the Pew Research Center. One of their facts is the share of Americans living without a partner has increased, especially among young adults. In the past 10 years, the share of U.S. Adults living without a spouse or partner has climbed to 42%, up from 39% in 2007 when the Census Bureau began collecting detailed data on cohabitation. Two important demographic trends have influenced this phenomenon. The share of adults who are married has fallen, while the share living with a romantic partner has grown. So people are just living together,
shacking up,
playing marriage, like playing one on TV.
Fake it till you make it.
But not actually married. And in some states, unfortunately, unbeknownst to them, like California, you are married. Duh.
Common law, 7 years.
So the one thing you were trying not to do, get your chips together.
You did it anyway.
And protect your chips. Duh, they're gone. Anyway, so that's half your chips.
No, they going to eat your chips. They eating all those chips.
So, however, the increase in cohabitation has not been large enough to offset the decline in marriage, giving way to the rise in number of unpartnered Americans. The share of adults who are unpartnered has increased across the young and middle-aged, but the rise has been most pronounced among young adults. Roughly 6 in 10 adults younger than 35, 61%, are now living without a spouse or partner, up from 56% just 10 years ago.
And there you go. And that's kind of what I'm saying. It's almost like it's almost like when we grew up at Seventh-day Adventist and we grew up with a very conservative Christian perspective and teaching. And when you get to a certain point, spiritually for me, there were things that were no longer in alignment that I began to question with my religious teaching, not with my relationship with God. So I began to lean more towards the spiritual relationship with God than what this consensus group over here was saying about how I should manage my relationship with God. So what I'm saying is it's the same thing I believe with marriage. I think that at a certain point, it's what everybody's telling you. It's what tradition has come before you, and it's what people say. It's just the next natural thing to do. But here's what I think is interesting. We are not, here's where you get back to the raw principles biblically of the Bible. God tells us we're not meant to live alone. Period. We're not, everybody, whether you're clinging to your friends, whether you cling to your parents, whether you cling to a significant other, whether you cling to a spouse. Some people, to me, I'm looking at a lot of families now, and I'm looking at another trend, and I would love to get the statistics on this since Dave is lodged into his computer. The statistics
I'm looking up stats
that also say that now I'm seeing more and more adult parents who are single or families who want to keep their adult children home as friends. They're not even asking their kids to leave because their children are company. Mm-hmm. All I'm trying to say is I, too, recognize the need to connect. I, too, recognize the need to have somebody that you can share your thoughts with and go through life with. We're all designed that way. So when you find somebody that, to me, that's the beauty of taking the time to actually get into somebody who you're suited for. That's not perfect, but perfect for you. But it takes time, and we're out of it. We all seem to act like we don't have any more time, and everything is instant gratification. And therefore, we're assigning traits and characteristics that help us define who we should be married that are whack. Just because I had got into a consensual sexual relationship with you, it doesn't mean all of a sudden that I'm supposed to be marriage material. Okay? We're bed buddies. Mm-hmm. Let's just get that straight. That's what we are. The commitment of marriage is way different than the commitment of a booty call. Boom, I'm out. Boop, Marla drops the mic.
Well, here's what I will say. And I'm
serious about that too.
I think we're touching on what I call a paradox because while I do believe that overall the statistics do show that married people tend to be more stable from every aspect, from financial to even emotional health. But the issue is there's a paradox of declining female happiness overall in the country. And I think that kind of goes with 7 out of 10 Americans when polled by a CBC News poll what's CBC? I have no idea. Said the institution of marriage is now weaker than it was.
I have a question. I'm asking it as well in the chat room. Is there anybody who's brave enough? You don't have to give your name, to call in and tell us that just regrets the decision to get married. That's a real question I have. Do you regret? You thought you were in it. You thought this was the one. Does anybody who's listening have marital regrets? You've been there. You've done that. You think it's stupid. You don't like it. It didn't turn out well. And why? 323-524-2599. I want to hear a marriage regret story.
In the meantime, I'm going to add this statistic. Married women, on average, are healthier than unmarried women.
Well, I am pretty healthy.
I say so myself. Anyway, those are just some of the statistics that I'm saying.
Statistically, I will say this, that there is, I joke all the time and I say, I am the car on the showroom floor. I have low miles, and if you choose not to re-op your lease, I won't be the car in the back of the lot with the broken headlight. I'll be on the showroom floor and I will sell. In reality, it's like you see people and you think, man, they look like they just lived hard. The process of giving yourself to one person after the next person after the next person is a deterioration. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. Mm-hmm. There's nobody that I know that has a steel vagina. I'm sorry. They just don't. And so, and worse, lending myself emotionally to different situations. I think that the one thing that I say all the time, if I ever were to find myself single, again, I'd like to never say never, but I could probably say that I would never, ever marry anyone else ever again in life, because the understanding of what it takes to give, I'm a giver, and to connect and to give and to be understood even on a level that, like Alvin said this one time, and it stuck out to me. It still does to this day. When his first marriage dissolved, and we were talking one day, and he said, I think one of the hardest things for me to consider is having to tell someone new all my old stories. And I was like, and I promise you, my brain exploded.
I'm so glad that you said that, because a study by the National Bureau of Economic Research in Canada, they found, and the study that they did showed that married people are happier. One of the reasons is that single people always seem to have to go on a hunt socially for social interaction. So they're constantly trying to, and there was pressure there. Married people always have somebody to talk to. They always have a social environment sort of built into the institution. That's one of the few things, that's one of the nuances and one of the attributes that I said are part of a married unit that you take for granted.
Right.
You have a friend built in, hopefully.
Well, some people, and so now let me just get into this, since we're going to talk real about marriage. I think that has been the saving grace of who we are, because the bottom line is most people aren't friends. What if you got into a situation, and this is what I find, most people treat their spouses with a different expectation than they treat their friends. And so
that's wrong.
I hear you, because it's scary to be real. It's even scarier I think I'm going to speak for women. Women have put ourselves on a timer that expires. And if there's an expiration, you feel like you have to present a package that's of value, and it's very scary for most people to trust being themselves. And so we have been groomed, at least in my generation, to feel like that we have to be chosen. And now, you almost run out of time, and in everything in life, you start to feel like you're competing. So at 50 years old, if I were to find myself single, no matter what I'm bringing to the table, most women don't trust their value, and they think that they're competing against me at 50 in a single world. Well, Lexi's 25. We'll be on February 9th. She's single. So when I have to think about the single pool, my value internally for someone with low self-esteem, which happens a lot of times at that age, it's diminished.
Mm-hmm. Well, to add to that, I'm going to ask you a question. How do you, from a woman's perspective, what do you think the reason is when studies show that overall women are less happy than they used to be, but at the same time, married women are generally happier than single women.
Well, yeah, because the pressure. Again, everybody wants to belong. That's the bottom line. Everybody wants to belong. Everybody wants to. There's something about that statement. If you like it, then you need to put a ring on it. The ring represents a value. So I think that most women have a checklist. And it's weird. And I can say most women because I can genuinely say, and honestly, from the bottom of my heart, this was just, I never fell into this category, maybe because I got married at 3, but didn't have a chance to even understand that. Most women want to have a value or purpose or a career. They want to be married.
Want to be mothers.
And even not even a career. They want to be married, they want to be mothers, and they want to have the security of a home. They want those 3 things. They want to be taken care of by way of security, not taken care of by way of a mistress. But that's the security package for most females. And so we've worked around that through the years, and now I've found a way to deal with my own security. I can monetarily manage me, but I can't, without a lot of duress, get my own baby. Meaning that I can go do that, but it's not in the organic way that I want. Meaning that, yeah, okay, if I'm single, I still have a uterus, I can have a baby, but I got to go choose sperm. I can make my own sperm.
And so what I'm really saying is,
or pick a
even
friend.
Though you have all these newfound opportunities for women, and which is a great thing. I think that's an awesome thing.
Can't stop us.
But I do believe that there is a genetic echo of tradition that's just part of genetic makeup of who we are. And so, again, and I say that, and I quote the same study that says long-term partners, people who live together but didn't technically get married, they had the same rate of happiness when they took the survey as married people. And they say, and when they asked about it, they say, we do think it's more about the social relationship than the legal status. In other words, there's a
new Zales commercial, if you haven't seen this, and it's a double diamond. And it's the diamond for the woman
friend?
who's your friend and your spouse.
And your wife. Absolutely.
And so that jumped out at me. I'm like, wow, okay, so most people don't recognize that. But ladies, today I'm going to give you a nugget as we go forward in this show, and I'm going to tell you why so many of us have settled and how. I'm going to give you the steps as to how you can actually free yourself to become a better option. It's time for you girls to come off the bench and to be a starter. You guys want to be starters? Is what you want? You want to be? You want to be? You want to be one of the top 5 stars on the team?
What do you mean versus what?
Versus being on the bench, being a side chick, being a back piece, being leftovers, being looked over.
Hey, I didn't say it, ladies.
I said it.
That's Marla.
I'm not afraid. You can't beat me.
Don't get mad at me.
You can't beat me.
Don't get mad at me.
And don't let this makeup on my
show.
sweatshirt fool you. We'll be back.
Time for the Marla and Dave Doghouse. Marla has something that should put Dave in the doghouse. Dave has something that should put Marla in the doghouse. You decide who gets a biscuit and who gets busted and ends up in the doghouse.
David is going in the doghouse today for one sheer and explicit reason, because he just doesn't listen. So through the years, as you guys know, I am a certified personal trainer. As a matter of fact, he doesn't listen. There you go. Mm-hmm. Through the years, not only am I a certified personal trainer, but I am that in a trio, times 3 different certifications. So I pretty much can tell you that I know what the hell I'm talking about. So I've been talking to Dave about you can change your life here. There are little things that I've made up sayings through the years in moderation without feeling deprived. You don't have to do a whole lot of anything, but you have to do a consistent little amount of everything. Bottom line is, Dave I said, listen, we're going to start working out. Dave, every day we're doing these 3.5 miles. We go up and down hills. We do all this stuff. So he's starting to see some differences and whatever. Dave comes to me and says, I got to apologize. Tell you that you're right. doing the.
I couldn't have possibly said that.
You
but
did.
Go ahead.
So the other day, I have to, with all that he's doing, yet and still, he gets ready to get
sound like a doghouse.
He gets ready.
so far.
He gets ready to get a snack, and he falls back into his old challenge Marla habits, and he rolls out of the kitchen with some crackers, some stripples, and some cheese, and then challenges me on why that's supposed to be a bad idea. Gluten, and fatty. No, Dave. Smack on the hand. You got to listen and learn to change.
Okay, so
Dave is hard-headed.
You've made your point. I'm going to start off by just rebutting that by saying I did come out with
half a pack of
the bacon and the cheese.
It's stripples.
And
real bacon would have been better.
And the bottom line is, Marla was eating. She went out and bought pepperoni and cheese together as a snack.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm eating the same thing, and yet I'm uncool.
Where are your crackers? Where were my crackers?
I needed a little bit more.
No, it's the carb and it's the wrong. Stop. It's all bad.
So Marla's going in the doghouse because she doesn't listen. Marla actually doesn't not listen. She listens, but she discounts what I say. So I said, Marla, hey, your shoulder's feeling a little bit better. Can you help me practice my volleys on the tennis court? We go out there and she says, look, your volleys has to be like this, and she does 1,000 things and it's looking good. And then she smacks the ball at me. So by the time she hits the ball at me, we're literally as close as we are right now.
I
I
didn't hit the ball at you.
It takes literally
Dave's
a
a
tenth
whiner.
of a second for the ball to get there. And she expects me to do a motion that takes at least 3 seconds
Step
to
out
achieve.
the way. You got to go forward through the ball.
I'm agreeing with her. Everything she's saying, but it can't happen in the time frame that she's telling me to do it.
Tony, I'm about to double down on his doghouse.
So then,
for the record,
on top of that, I said the problem that I'm having. This is what I said before we went on the tennis court. The problem that I'm having is my motion, my movement is not right. And by the time we were done, she agreed with me. We spent an hour and a half on the tennis court before she said, "Dave, you were right."
Okay, first of all,
Doghouse.
I should have offered you some wine with that cheese. Let's on with the show.
What's the action?
You'll laugh. You'll learn. You'll learn. You'll get mad.
Shut up!
You'll get happy. But you won't be bored. This is the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network.
Before I give girls the key, the single ladies, the keys to the kingdom, I'm going to first start by shoving Dave into the street and pushing him underneath the bus. So we're walking the other day, and we're actually, these are conversations, which I think is kind of cool to share this. This is something to look forward to in a quality marriage. We are really best friends. And we've been through some tough stuff. We've still, we continue to go through tough stuff. And we are our own individuals, but there's a lot of, I think that our respect level for each other on a friend level is probably like none other. That doesn't mean I always let him sleep with me, but I'm just saying we're good friends. So, he's in the bed, but I'm just, because he called it a monkey. Anyway, back to the...
What?
Back to the point at hand. So David starts in Tony and MaD family with the actual issue with women.
Ooh, see, don't paint me in that picture.
Okay,
but go
paint
ahead.
your own picture.
You paint the picture, but I'm just saying it wasn't
listen,
about just women.
I won't push you in front of this bus if you walk into the street on your own. Go.
I don't know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, you do about
I
the
really
hoes.
Don't.
Women have become. We've gone so far that we on our own we've become hoes. What? Something to that.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And I don't say women have become hoes. What I'm saying
Let
is...
me take off my hat in case I have to fight on behalf of my girls because I'm already dressed
Get the
for it.
Vaseline out. You already took the hoops out.
Yeah, I have no hoops.
What I was really saying is that what makes me most angry about women's rights when it comes to the application. So in order to prove that women should have the right to choose a lot of things, they've actually had to put up with the choices that caused them to start the women's movement in the beginning. In other words, you didn't like the way men were mistreating women and objectifying women. And to prove that the choice is okay, women started to objectify themselves. And that's equally uncool. So if you don't want us as men to look at you as sex objects, then don't shake it around butt naked. That
You
means
can't control yourself?
no, not when I see a butt naked woman. It's hard to. I'm saying that jokingly, but it's hard for a man to control himself in that. And because of that, I say that women have objectified themselves. Most of the stress that I think that women feel emotionally from society comes from other women, not men.
This is an argument we got into on one of our 3 mile walks because, and I'm going to tell
it's
you
just
why.
too damn long.
No.
We start out as friends, and about mile 2.5, we're arguing.
That's actually kind of true. By the time we get home, we're like, you see us, and we're like trying to change and go in opposite directions to finish our walk. Anyway, what I was saying to Dave is...
But do you agree with that in any form?
Say the last part of it because I was about to make a statement.
I say that women had to rebel against the mistreatment of men, but yet to prove that they had the right, they then started to take on some of the same attributes that they didn't like.
You're right, but what's not right about it is, and I think this is what I was saying. No one can get everything, and so to me, one of the things that I was rebutting and arguing with you is that there is this expectation that or comments men will be men. Men are visual. You said, oh, it's not even cool that society turned their back on men who decide to be continually promiscuous, but it's expected from men. Are you listening?
I'm listening.
It's expected from men. Men are excused. Weinsteins were created in this world because it's just what men do. It's who men are. Honey, you know what? Girl, he's a man. That's the problem. So what ends up happening is, oh yeah? Well, we have kind of played ourselves because I always say that women we are designed differently. And women lead, it doesn't mean we all don't function the same, but women generally are designed based on men are visual and external, women are emotionally and internal overall, but we both have the benefit of cognitive intelligence. So we can use our brains to overpower instinct. But instinctually, that is what we generally are. And I don't mean to put us in a box, but I kind of just did. But let me help you get the box open. All I'm saying is women, to our own dismay, have tried to match a man's sexual simplicity. Bottom line. And
women aren't naturally
we're
complex.
Hurting by it. That's my problem. My problem is if it worked, then, more power. But now people are talking about slut shaming and all this kind of stuff, and I don't think that you should go after any other person. But what I am saying is, let's not talk about slut shaming. Let's be real. There's a lot of really unhappy women. I know a lot of really unhappy women in their 40s and 50s who have not 60s who have not been fulfilled. They have all the other makings but the companionship that they really always were longing for. At the end of the day, every woman, every human wants to be valued, and they want to be cherished by one person that has touted you and understands you and put you in the front of the line above all others, which is why, again, a joke, but these hoes ain't loyal. That's why you see a lot of women who are honestly competing for men who aren't worth shit. All the people on the reality shows. Stop it. You are all fighting over who? Fetty Wap? He's got 18 kids. And I'm just got to keep it all the way real. What I'm saying is a lot of these women have much more value, even if it's just physical. You're talking about beautiful women, but why? So what I'm saying is that's where I think that the problem has started to happen, that we've gone over here because in reality, all you really want to do is be the one that this trash or this person who doesn't seem to have a lot of value makes you the winner of the race and gives you this ring. But for what? Why do you even want a ring from him?
Okay. And I think what I'm starting to see is that our positions aren't too far apart. What I'm really hearing you say is what the concept, the semantic of marriage has descended into is not cool.
With the trending environment, marriage is no longer, which is why I say to be or not to be. I'm saying
I agree with you on that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is
its original design has been deteriorated with the actual environmental toxins.
For the same reason why the younger generation just doesn't go to church. Because what church used to mean is not really what it's about right now from their perspective. So while they would like spiritual enlightenment and teaching and guidance, they don't feel like that's what they're getting. They feel like they're getting constant pleas to take my money, constant pleas to say how whack I am.
Most things
and condemn me from anything that I like to do, that kind of thing. So it just doesn't fit with who they are.
I would call us quality parents, and what we know about parenting is, with all things, that most things when it comes to parenting are modeled, not ordered. So that's that. When you talk about church, that's also part of the problem.
Since this is our last segment for today, our last big segment, I'm going to give you some 5 different facts about marriage. Love still remains the number one reason to get married. Love, 88%. Make a strong commitment, 81%. Companionship, 76%. They just had some kids, 49%. Relationship recognized as a religious ceremony. That's something that's part of their religion. They need to get married. Financial stability, ironically, is only 28%. That's the only reason why 28% only get married for financial reasons.
Only people with a lot of money care about protecting their money. So that's a 1%er issue in a lot of cases. It's way up there. That's not why people get married or don't get married. That's not really the deterrent that people think it is. Because if you're running around and you're not even, pulling in, you're not even in the right tax zone, stop saying, she gonna take all my stuff. What is that?
And so juxtapose that against the second point, which is the share of Americans who are married is at its lowest. So while love is the main reason, that means that most people, at least more people than used to be, just aren't in love.
You know why? Because I know more unhappily married people I know more happily divorced people than I know more happily married people. How about that? Most people who are married are they hate it. They're complaining about it. Whether you hear about it or not, I know that there's a lot.
They tell you. They don't tell me. They tell you.
Well, no one talks to you about much of anything because you don't like to talk. So there, unless it's coming out of your family, you haven't heard about it anyway. Anyway, so no, I'm keeping it all the way real. That's kind of the point. And there are a lot of reasons why. There are a lot of things that we can do to change that. But for too many people, marriage is used as a tool. It's a trick.
See, and I disagree with the premise of your last
statement. The minute you get
statement.
married, then things change. Everybody is good with who you are. You date one way, and you become. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. You're a completely different being. Once you get married, all the things that you claim to love about that person go out the damn window. The minute you say I do and you get into the thing, I call it the shade effect. You say, oh, the house is empty, but the shades are pulled. Do you want to come in here with me and live? And they're like, I like the size of the house from the outside. Yeah, we could decorate it together or whatever. And once you walk in and shut the door and you open the shades, you're like, holy crap. It's full of all kind of stuff. The decor is crazy. So then at that point, you have to decide, is it still worth it for me to adjust to this junky decor I don't like because of whatever? Or it was never painted the way that you intended it to be and you can't manage it because it wasn't even honest to begin with and you say, I'm out of here.
Okay. So again, I agree with you that there's some, most marriages that tend to fail were based on faulty reasons. And on top of that, they have, as time goes on and as the troubles come, as within all marriages, they fall apart. The reason why I say I disagree with that is based on this next point. Marriage may be on the decline, but remarriage is rising.
Yeah, because everybody, you know why? And let me tell you why that's happening, and let me fix this. If you have a failed relationship, and this is my camera, the question you need to ask is not, or answer is not, what was wrong with them? What is wrong with me? Why didn't this work with me? You got to fix you.
Or why did I choose something that wasn't going to
That's
work
what I'm
to begin
saying, which
with?
is fixing you. What I'm saying is that most people re-enter marriage because they think that the next person will solve the problem when the problem is you. That's the bottom line. And I've had that conversation a million times with my own mother. We talk about that openly, and my father. Why would you consider something different if you guys are the same two people? Clearly it didn't work once. I'm trying to be dead serious. So basically,
maybe they did some work. Maybe they did do some
they
self-work.
didn't. And so the bottom line is that my parents, they didn't. The bottom line is that all I'm trying to say is that's a super important thing. Change thyself, because people think that another person will make it better. I'm going to find someone better for me instead of I'm going to get more real with what I really need. What am I really looking for? Because all things are transitory and they change.
That's true.
Should we answer this call, Dave?
I'm sure it's Moniz. Anyway, so
Hi,
I
Moniz.
I
We're
still
on
say,
air. What can I do for you?
Marla, really? Are you going to be talking to Moniz during the show? Anyway, I still say one of the other points I want to make is today Americans are increasingly looking for love online. And I think that is part of the whole confusion in the whole marriage scenario. I still think that online dating is a thing where you can find true love. I'm not mad at that, but I think it's going to happen once you get into a physical closeness. I'm not going to say a physical relationship, but you have to be with somebody to know whether or not it's a real thing. It can't just be, and maybe I'm wrong about that, because I say it like this. Marriage back in the day, people's parents used to actually agree to the marriage, not the two people that were actually in the marriage. Marriages were arranged, and they lasted.
You're saying that our freedom of choice has ruined us.
They didn't divorce at all.
Well, you know what,
Go
though?
figure.
Let me just say this.
Because the parents know their child, and they say, with my child's characteristics, your child's characteristics seem to be really a good fit. Our families make a good fit.
Did you know that there's a question that I ask myself every year, and maybe twice a year? And this is real for me. I literally try to realign myself within our own marriage by asking this question. Marla, are you just counting the years, or are you really trying to continue to make space to create a quality situation? I literally have that actual dialogue with myself
every year,
twice sometimes, because when I say, the response that happens when you say, "Oh, I've been married 29 years," it's like a trophy. Like, "Oh my God, 20 what? Oh, congratulations." I could be in bondage for 29 years. You don't know. He could be, sticking his penis in my cheek, and I'm every day for the last, 20 years, and I'm like, stop it. You just never know. So what I'm saying is the number is irrelevant. It's not that. And so I have to keep checking in with myself to be sure that I'm here and I'm present for all of my own right reasons.
Well, we're going to have to let that be the last word.
There's no such thing.
Before we get to the
So
next
many more
portion
words.
of the show. But, I mean, the discussion is a good one. And I'm glad you came up with the topic. We'll be right back.
It's time to play the Marla and Dave Love Game. Here are
No.
Marla and
All
Dave
right.
to explain how it
No.
works.
Looks like I'm rolling today.
No.
The MaD Love Game is a game created by Marla and me. It has three categories. The categories that Marla and I think actually impact most relationships: sex, finance, and communication. If you don't talk about how much you're going to pay for the sex, just joking. I was seeing if Marla was listening. Clearly she wasn't. Anyway, it's played by rolling a single die. The die has those categories. It also has the MaD logo. If you land on the MaD logo, you get to choose whatever you want to. You don't want to land on lose a turn. Anyway, I'm going to roll the die. It said lose a turn. I didn't want to do that. So, Marla, I'm rolling for you.
You
And
can't.
it's the MaD logo. You get to choose whatever you want to.
Finance.
Finance.
Money, money, money,
Ouch.
money. Nice.
All right. Oh, there's a good one.
This is good game show music, Tony. I
What
always love
is
that.
the number one money issue that destroys most marriages? What is the number one money issue that destroys most marriages?
Stealing.
Studies show the culprit is blame. When one partner is blamed by another for a financial downfall, it often leads to relationship problems. Now,
What if the other person is truly to blame?
Okay, so the Mad Love game has questions and answers that are actually provided by the Pew Research Center.
Pew, pew, pew.
It also has further discussion questions that are really fun when you're playing with a group of people. The further discussion for this question is, how do you avoid blame in a relationship, especially when it comes to finances? Marla?
How do you avoid blame?
How do you avoid blame?
I think there's only one way to avoid blame. Number one is being completely accountable. What you should be accountable for is clear communication. I think that it's harder to blame somebody if you continue to clearly outline your expectations in a situation and a process.
I always say that whenever there's an issue, there usually is two sides to that issue. And so if you are willing to actually look at yourself first, that to me is a big way to avoid blame. Marla, we have time for one more?
Nope.
Yes,
Time to
we
move
do.
on. Pew,
yes,
pew.
we do.
Okay, Dave just wants to get
It's
to
communication.
sex. Oh, good. Oh, look at you turning over a new leaf, trying to clean up your life in 2018.
Marla, are women turned off by men who cry?
Hell yeah.
Wow, you think so, huh?
It depends on what. Like if you cry for something that's I don't know, bro. Yes, I know. I don't.
If
yes.
you just got hit by a car, it's probably not so
Or
bad.
I'm not even mad at an emotional movie. Somebody wrote on Facebook the other day, by the way, that they were watching The Shack, and they had lost both of their parents, and the pain and spiritual comfort that they were reminded of by watching the movie. He said, "I'm a grown man, and I was bawling in tears." That doesn't make me mad.
Okay.
But if you come home and you're like, I can't get this bread open, I'm going to be like, what the hell?
Studies show, Marla, you are correct.
Open the bread on the front lawn with the rest of your belongings.
Yes,
You're
women.
no longer in this relationship.
Women, the answer is yes. Women don't generally appreciate a crying man, but they understand if man tears well up every now and then.
Yeah, appropriate man
So the
tears.
further
I want my
discussion-
man to have emotions. I don't want him to, fake like a rock.
So let's talk about some of those. You already gave us a couple, Marla. What's another circumstance for further discussion?
Death.
Is a man's crying unacceptable?
No, it's not acceptable to cry when you're talking to your friends, like you and your boys. If you and Darren were sitting around, you're like, man, I can't believe Marla took the car. It's out of gas. I'd be like, what the hell?
That's actually an emotional breakdown. I'll be having an emotional breakdown. Commit me.
Or if you
immediately.
had a minor crisis, if you got locked out the house and to solve the problem, I came home and you were sitting on the step crying, bro, you got to go.
Well, what you didn't know is that
I need a man.
I had to take a number 2. The neighbor caught me. They called the police. I went to jail. I had to bail myself out.
Oh.
And by the time you got home, it was a lot of issues. there.
And for you, that would just be a double swoosh. You'd be like,
Oh, man. Well, that's the Mad Love Game. You can get your copy of the Mad Love Game by going to www.marlandave.com. Click on the Mad merch. Buy the game. You'll have a lot of fun. Be right back. I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together, it's like a match dancing with a firecracker. This is the Marla and Dave radio show.
Well, I'm not going
Universal Broadcast Network.
I'm not going to disappoint. There's some nuggets I'm going to share with my friends, with my ladies out here, to get you, to turn you into starters, take you off the bench. But right quick, I want to share this statement from Maurice Bearden.
Can we actually do that after the poll question?
Oh.
So the poll question last time we had the show was this, before the holidays: is the Democratic win for the Alabama Senate seat a forecast for a change of power in the White House? Your options were yes, #out with the old, or no. Hashtag too little too late. The yes won out 63% to 38%. I never quite understand those types of numbers because there's more than 100, but whatever. The poll question next week is what, Marla?
The poll question next week is in keeping with our topic for today.
Okay.
And what's in keeping with that topic is very simple. Is traditional marriage an old school idea?
Your
Yes.
options are
Yes, hashtag a dying institution, or no, hashtag alive and well. Well, we've already
Alive and
decided
well.
that statistically, we've led you all.
Anyway, you can, wherever the Marla and Dave show is there, where all of our social networks, the poll question will be there. Go to our website, www.marlandave.com, log on, answer the poll question. We love hearing from you. Back to the show.
Can you handle the truth? This is modern American dialogue in a mad world from two unique, fresh, transparent perspectives. This is the Marla and Dave radio show.
I have to say, before I even get into the final segment here, that was Moniece, and the reason I did answer the phone is because it is our grandson's actual birthday today. And Cameron is
Absolutely,
8.
yeah.
So happy birthday to Cameron David Frederick. You're 8 years old.
We already had his big party.
We had a big party this weekend with him. He and all of his friends, He's growing up way faster than we'd like to see, but it happens. He was wanting to know if his pappy was going to take him for ice cream because he's going to have to go to bed. It's not going to happen.
What?
He's going with his father. So Drew's got the baby, and you can find him tomorrow at his school, and you may pick him up, and you may extend his birthday joy by Pappy Cameron ice cream time tomorrow. So that's what that call was all about. In the meantime, here are some nuggets that I want to share with my ladies. I can't impress upon you enough that you are, your greatest gift, all of you, is your uniqueness. There is something that I know to be true. I think that there has to become a bravery to expose your truth and not your list of expectations from someone, which I think we tend to do a lot. So when I say your uniqueness, the thing that I've learned is that I start looking at what's different between this generation and my generation. And
Work.
right. And like Dave said, even back in the day, most of us, no matter where you came from or whatever, it was your promiscuity was controlled by you because it was so poorly looked upon, even by your friends. Like, that's just not how we rolled. But however, by the time somebody really got to know you, they experienced all three parts of who you were, which are your spiritual self, your intellectual self, and your emotional self. And so the package of this, by the time a man got to know all of who you were, he really fell in love with all of you. Now we've broken ourselves up to match, I believe, a sexual simplicity. And we send a representative in each one of these areas to get the job done that's at hand. And I think that what's happening is, and how that looks is, if a dude walks in a room, and I've said this before, and everybody's like, ooh, okay, he's hot. And so you send your sexual representatives, well, what you're going to get is sex. But that's not what anyone is really looking for in a complete relationship.
Just so I know when I walk in the room,
No.
what does a sexual representative
David,
look
no,
like?
I can't tell you anything because you'll be at home dressing up in banana hammocks and all kinds of things. Ass out chaps, Dave. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
Leather ass out
All
chaps.
right, perfect.
So I'm just trying to say that, I think that that's it. The other thing I'd like to say is stop comparing yourself to anyone else. Just don't do it. Stop looking around at what seems to work for everyone else. It's a mistake. The best measurement, the only true measurement you can make is the one that you'll measure up to, is the one that you measure from inside. The minute you begin to measure against the wall of somebody else's height, you're either gonna be over it, shoot over the moon, or you're gonna come up short because it's not you. So you have to find a way to get comfortable with you, because I believe that that's what men love. They love the uniqueness of a woman. You're feminine because you're a woman. Bottom line.
My final statement is gonna be about marriage, and it's not gonna be gender specific. I want us to start by taking some of the pressure off dating. Dating is not a marriage practice. It is, to me, the pressure can be taken off by literally saying,
like licking a lollipop.
I'm going out here to have some fun. And as you meet other people that you enjoy spending time with and have fun with, that could be a basis of a great friendship. Once you have that, now you have a basis for potential marriage. Stop making it about the bank account. Stop making it about what a person looks like. Stop making about any attribute that you think is what you are specifically looking for. Make it about who you enjoy spending time with. And once you have that friend basis, everything else can work out, as far as I'm concerned.
I think that's really good. I really do. I think that that's the other thing. You know, people, you don't know if you want apples and oranges if you've only been eating apples. So the bottom line is, you know, don't get connected, like David says all the time, too quick, too much too soon. And the bottom line is there's no place to grow at that point, and it a lot of the time it fizzles out before it can even find a foundation. And there's no foundation.
And before you're married, you already got marriage level arguments, and that's just not cool. So
yeah, it should be. You know what? It should be fun, and you know, sometimes it doesn't work. I think that when we choose,
find it out in the dating process.
When we choose from our list of needs, we mess up every time because you're only going to be picking from the weakest, from the deficit that you have, and you're not going to be actually connecting from your strengths. So those are some things that I've learned, and just freaking A, man, be yourself. Be yourself, and I do believe that you should pray about it, but the praying about it is not to turn somebody into something. It's just to be able to accept the reality of who you are and actually gain the strength to be able to show that to somebody in a relationship, because at the end of the day, you want to be cherished. I want to be cherished. I don't want to be overlooked. I don't want to. If I'm going to share a person, then you certainly aren't going to have I'm not going to have an exclusive contract, which would be marriage.
I'm also going to give a shout out before we go today to a little musician who I happen to know very well, and I popped on my social networks, and there was Caden Chia playing the drums.
Oh yeah,
with his band. I guess it was his winter recital because he takes drum lessons.
I should post it.
And I mean, it was really cool. And I know his parents are very proud. I'm proud of him too. Anyway, so we've had a great show. We hope that we've shed some light on the institution of marriage.
So marriage, to be or not to be, I say at the end of the day, to be with responsible, conscious consideration.
And I say at the end of the day, I told you so. Anyway, so because I knew that Marla was going to come around. And we usually, the good thing about Marla and I, she said our relationship is based on being really best friends. And yet we're still individuals. I will always come to a point from a place that Marla does not get to the same point. But we get to the same point.
I don't like
eventually.
Dave's process. It's slow, it's arduous.
A process.
And it's
Marla doesn't like process.
I'm pretty sure that it's the amount of time that it takes for his thoughts to travel past his enormous forehead dome and go down into his vocal tract and then come out. And then on top of it, his words get snagged on that one little tooth.
So now you're getting an insight into one of the things that makes our relationship work. At night, after we're mad, we just start joking each other.
How long has that thought been running around in that head of yours, Dave? Since 2017?
It's a seasoned thought.
Oh my God. Anyway, you know what, guys? Let's decide to have a better 2018. Let's be more connected. Let's be more conscious. Let's pray for each other. Let's lift each other up. And you know what? It doesn't have to be so dark. You know, life sucks when you live it selfishly.
Absolutely. And by doing so, we will change the world. This has been the Marla and Dave Show. We loved having you, spending some time with you. We'll see you guys next week.